Thank you, Bill. That was beautiful. And good morning and welcome to Unity of Orange County. We're so glad that you could join us this beautiful day. Before we get started, I'd like us to affirm our vision and mission statement. Our vision statement, centered in divine love, we joyfully co-create a world that works for all. And our mission statement, to awaken, inspire, and transform lives. I'd like to take this opportunity to thank those that make it possible today. Bill on piano. Thank you, Bill. And we have Tom as our audio tech, John streaming, Waverly on camera. And today we have Reverend Allison, who is going to give us not only our message, but she'll be doing the daily word and our meditation. So thank you very much. Before we get started, I'd like to give some announcements. First of all, we have our new book that started this past Wednesday. It's called Living Originally by Robert Brummett. We will be meeting on Wednesdays at 6:30 via Zoom. Spiritual discussion group is going to begin today on Zoom at 11 o'clock, and we will be meeting on the first and third Sundays at 11. This is a book that we are using, The Quest by Richard and Mary Allison Jofala, as a discussion that is going to help you this changing of your spiritual development in the year 2021. It's a great opportunity for you to be working with some awesome people. So I hope you're going to join us with that. And that will be again today at 11 o'clock on Zoom. Our gratitude circle is going to start on Sunday, January the 31st, and we will be meeting on the fourth Sunday of the month, and that will be at 11 o'clock. On Sunday, January the 24th, we will be having our town hall meeting. This again is via Zoom at 11 o'clock, and I do hope you're going to be there. And this is your opportunity to ask us what's going on, tell us what you would like to see, and for us as your board members to tell you what is going to be going on going forward for 2021. So please check out all of our activities on our website, www.unityoforangecounty.org. So at this time, I'd like to welcome Reverend Allison. Thank you.
Good morning. The daily word for today, Sunday, January 17th, 2021. Dream. I turn my dreams into reality. Some of the most audacious, bold, history-making events began as dreams, born in the imaginations of those who understood the promise and the potential of humanity and worked to realize their vision. Even if my dreams do not change the world, they have the power to change my life. Today, I remember those whose dreams were fueled by the hard work, faith, and determination. I look to their example when my dreams feel far away and I'm running low on hope. I rekindle my dreams through my imagination, which keeps them vivid. My strength helps me remain committed to this realization, and my zeal renews my enthusiasm to work towards creating the life and the world of my dreams. And the scripture today is Joel 2:28. Your sons and your daughters shall prophesy. Your old men shall dream. They shall dream dreams. And your young men shall dream and see visions. Now let's just take a moment and prepare for our meditation. Just go ahead and get in that comfortable space, preferably with your feet on the floor. And just begin that wonderful breathing and in through the nose and out through the mouth as we quietly center ourselves, as we give ourselves this wonderful opportunity to rest in the moment. And as you breathe, then feel the fullness of this moment. And just allow yourself this time of sweet repose to reflect and to rest those busy thoughts that have been going on all morning. And then take a moment and remember your oneness with the Creator, with God. Breathe more deeply. And know that God is with you, as you, and for you. And that you can relax knowing this, knowing that you are loved. And knowing that the world can be at peace through our thoughts. So let this be your vision as you go within and take those breaths and just spend a moment in the silence. There is a peace in me today that is true and lasting. I've opened my heart and I've opened my life to the light within. I now surrender any feelings of fear and I let it be with the peace within. And I know that all is well in my life. No matter what the outer conditions look like, I can see through them and see to the truth. Real and lasting peace are mine right here and right now. I breathe into that place of peace in the silence. And as I further turn within, I call forth the wisdom and understanding that is within me, that is wise and guides me to right and perfect action. I can see easily what is mine to do. I discern my next steps to take. My way is made clear. And I let go and let God in this moment. My life is good and my prayers are filled with gratitude. I'm grateful for all the prosperity that shows up in my life as healthy relationships, perfect employment, the home of my dreams, and perfect health. I am patient, knowing that my highest good is unfolding, and I keep my mind on this in the silence. I take a moment and open my mind and my heart to being beloved and loving. My heart is filled to overflowing, as I know the world is a place of peace and harmony for everyone. I allow the love that is in my heart to express as kindness, appreciation, and compassion. And it is through this that I can see beyond all appearances and into the truth, and knowing only love prevails. During this time of quiet, we have had an opportunity to expand our awareness of inner peace, guidance, healing, prosperity, and indeed world peace. Our life is enriched, and our heart and our mind are open to new possibilities. So as we begin to come back to this place and move throughout our day, we just allow these thoughts and feelings to stay with us. We're inspired to do what is ours to do with this day, guided by the living, loving energy of God that is within and all around. And so it is. Amen. Thank you, Bill. That was beautiful. Such a calming presence after our meditation. And you might understand why when you see that the title of the talk is called Let It Rain. So it was a little bit like raindrops falling, and thank you so much. And this is Unity of Orange County, and welcome everybody, whether you're watching us right now on the live stream or catching us later on YouTube. We appreciate you being here, and we're so glad you joined us. And I'm grateful to be here to share this message with you. So we're in the third week of the new year. If you're like the majority of people, maybe you began by thinking, oh yay, it's a new year and it brings new possibilities and new ways of doing things, and it's an opportunity then just to reset which is no longer working in our lives. But maybe you made some resolutions. Maybe you vowed silently to make some changes. Or maybe you're just of the belief that just because the day changes on the calendar doesn't really mean everything else is going to change around it. But whichever way you approach this new year, with hope and anticipation, or simply consider it just another day on the calendar in another month, this will define how the outcome is revealed. Because it's our thinking and it's our expectations and it's our desires that bring about our reality. So this year at Unity of OC, we are utilizing the book called The Quest by Richard and Mary Alice DeFola. And we're using this as an opportunity to embark on a spiritual journey of rediscovering our spirituality. So Reverend R.A.I.N began the new year talking about the hero's journey, essentially a call to adventure. And mythological researcher Joseph Campbell spoke of the hero's journey, and he says, it's a quest for personal mastery, a renunciation of the ego, the victory of light over dark, and ultimately a reunion with our divine source. And I really think that this speaks to this quest and what the quest is actually inviting us to do. It's inviting us then to return to our source, return to our spiritual inner knowing. Personally, I was excited by the idea of the new year coming in, 2021, yippee, year of adventure, let's see what can happen. But, and I was seeing all those possibilities that were awaiting in the unfoldment. And when we started doing the quest, I was like, oh, I get it. This is a year adventure. I'm ready. So in the first chapter of the quest, we're invited to start over, to begin anew, and to take those first steps on our spiritual journey. And we're instructed at the end of the chapter to repeat the phrase, I'm at possibility junction. And they say to repeat it as often as you can. So just think about that. Possibility junction. What I thought about was what a wonderful way it would be, that would be to look at each new day, right? Imagine waking up, and even before you're getting out of bed, you just start and you say emphatically, I'm excited to see what possibilities are in store for me today. I'm at possibility junction. Think about that for a second. I think our days would go a little bit differently than if we just go, oh, God, my back hurts. Oh, it's time to get up. Can't believe all the things I got to do today. We'll stay at possibility junction. So then we get into chapter 2, and chapter 2 reminds us to create a spiritual support group. It says to surround yourself with people who are going to support you on this journey, on this rediscovery, this quest. And it says that there is an extra power then available for being with those people who support you in your desire to change. And we here at Unity of Orange County, we're so blessed because we have our own inner support group. And it is our spiritual support group, and we rely heavily on it. We're so blessed. So currently we're in chapter 3, or this week we will be reading chapter 3. And that is titled, What God Is. That's a loaded question, isn't it, right? I know, I would like to go ahead then and read 2 things from the chapter that will kind of maybe help us understand what God is. So we have the first reading, if my fingers will work. And it says, since the only power is God, and God's plan for us is only good, we have to assume and trust that even when in some areas there appears to be evil, there is always a larger, higher plan for good. We may not be able to see it, but it's there. And the second one is, it is only natural for God to be personally and intimately involved in your life. Never for a moment forget that. You might be tempted to say, well, that's ridiculous. How can something which holds the constellations in their patterns and turns the tides of the giant seas and bring spring each new year, be concerned with little old me. Well, I tell you, how could it not? So I think that this is a good reminder, these two little chapters or blurbs, whatever you want to call them, because we tend to forget that what our source is sometimes. And when we tend to forget it is when we hit those roadblocks. We're always on the journey, and we're always going to maybe find a few steps that we're going to stumble, or a roadblock that we're going to come across. And that's when we forget. But these setbacks occur when we're making our journey and we're going through possibility junction. It might make it a little more difficult. So when we go back and we remember our source, then we can move forward a little bit easier. So here's an example of how this might unfold. And this was related by Master Shi Han Yi, who is the 35th generation master at the Shaolin Temple. He is also a master of Kung Fu, martial arts, and methods of developing unity in body and mind. So he says, a man was living close to a mountain, and every day he was thinking, I wonder how it would be to climb that mountain. And what would I see when I reached the peak? So finally the day came, and he decided to go off on his journey. So arriving at the foot of the mountain, he met the first traveler. And he asked him, how did you get up the mountain? And what did you see at the top? And the traveler shared his path and offered his view that he had had. But then the man was thinking, I don't know, the way the traveler described it sounds very hard to me. There must be a better way. There must be another way. I need to find another way to climb. So he continued to walk on the foot of the mountain until the next traveler came along, and again he asked him, how did you climb up the mountain, and what did you find at the peak? And again, the traveler shared his story, but the man was still not determined on which way to go. So he asked 30 more travelers along the path. And when he finished talking to all of them, he finally made up his mind, and he said, well, now that so many people have shared with me their path, and especially what they saw from the top, I don't need to climb up there anymore. Well, it was very unfortunate that this man never went on the journey for two reasons. One is that each individual needs to find the most suitable way to climb their own mountain. And two, there's information that's possible to be shared with words, but it is impossible to share the experience of clarity and understanding when you're at the peak of that mountain. To invest the right effort in climbing the peak is very much what all Buddhist practices, the Shaolin training, or really any other spiritual practice is about. Clarity obviously means you see more clearly. And when you see more clearly, then your intentions and your interrelations become apparent, and you see more clearly that there is no need to believe anyone or anything. Seeing clearly means you distinguish yourself, which is the proper direction to take. And which decisions do I have to make in order to make my goals or aspirations start to take shape? So it's not my place to tell you which way to go or which path to follow along your own personal journey. You're going to encounter a few challenges. And these challenges will either prevent you from, or some of them maybe get you to move further along and get you to climb the mountain. So as we take our respective journeys, we can begin, we can look at it as we're just little seedlings. We're just those little bitty seedlings that are just coming up in the spring. And we're very fragile. And we're easily swayed. We move very easily with the wind. But the Shaolin Temple describes these things, these obstacles, these roadblocks, as the 5 hindrances of self-mastery. And these are the core mental states that prevent us from seeing clearly, from making decisions and achieving our goals and living a happier and harmonious life. The first of these is sensual desire. Sensual desire is intertwined with pleasure, and it arises when we have a deep craving for something that stimulates one or more of the 5 senses, vision, hearing, touch, taste, and smell. So imagine you're spending the past week practicing for a half marathon, and you're out there every day, and you're jogging, and you're getting ready, and you've been working really hard. But on the second week, you're interrupted by a smartphone begging for your attention. So you give up and you give in and you start scrolling through your social media feed and you end up doing this for hours. The time that you set aside for practicing has now been wasted and you've completely lost track of your goal. Sensual desires aren't always bad. The idea is that any desire, healthy or unhealthy, can easily turn into an obsession or an addiction that would distract us from our goals. So, what do? We take practice to overcome these self-desires. The only way to truly fight the temptation is to think deeply and carefully about the eventual consequences of succumbing to it. The next time a sensual desire emerges, ask yourself, will this help me or hurt me in the long run? And in what ways? The second hindrance is known as ill will. And this describes a state of mind that arrives from negative emotions. In this state of mind, you have an aversion or rejection to, or maybe just a simple dislike against a situation, an object, or a person. So to simplify this, it means you're climbing up the mountain and it starts to rain, but you don't like rain. You discover the roads are bumpy and you don't like bumpy roads. In order to cross the river, you have to swim and you don't like swimming. Whatever it is that you dislike won't make it a pleasant journey. So unless you learn to let go of this ill will, it will most likely be that you will not continue on your journey. Negative emotions, i.e. fear, anger, frustration, they're a natural part of life, but dwelling on them and preventing is what prevents us from moving forward. And we just stay in that stuck emotional state. So how do we practice overcoming ill will? Instead of ignoring it, we investigate the roots of it. If you dislike something, ask yourself why. Maybe it's because you never had success finding the solution in the past. Think about it. What went wrong? What could have been done differently? See it as an opportunity to learn more about yourself by letting go of old ways and then trying new ones. The third hindrance is sloth and torpor. And this is a state of inaction that leads to this condition. It's a result of having low energy or lack of motivation. Sloth and torpor can also come in the form of defeat, self-pity, thoughts of futility, complacency, or even depression. And in Buddhism, it's often described as imprisonment. The more you allow it to control your mind and your body, the faster the walls will close in on you. So we practice overcoming this sloth and torpor. As with all the other hindrances, first thing we do is we identify it. What led us to this mental state? And then we remind ourselves of our goals and what inspired them and what was there in the first place that brought us to that moment. And then we start taking the steps to push through the walls. And they can be little and small and simple as reaching out to a mentor or doing a walking meditation. That's something I do every day. I highly recommend it if you don't already. I do a lot of gratitude during that time as well. The fourth hindrance is restlessness. I bet none of us deal with that, right? None of us. Restlessness is the result of unsettled mind. And this happens to happen to people who are constantly worried or anxious about the future, or who judge themselves or others for their actions. In Buddhism, restlessness is referred to as having monkey mind. I'm sure we've all in New Thought heard of monkey mind. And that means that it's constantly jumping from one branch to another, unable to stay focused. Hence why we meditate. So during these times of restlessness, we can become more vulnerable then to whims, and then we might act on them and then later regret that. We might later regret fueling that hindrance even more and giving it that thought process. So again, how do we practice overcoming this? Well, we observe it. We observe it as it's happening. The point is to stop and take time and observe it as it's happening. And then your mind might start stirring in over some frustration, something you regret that you did the week before. Acknowledge that. Understand it. Then, hear me now, let it go. Okay, and meditation is one of the most effective ways to overcome this restlessness. The point is to clear your mind of the clutter so that you can find peace and quiet in the present moment. And the last of these hindrances that stop us on our journey that tend to come up as roadblocks is called skeptical doubt. And this really equates to a state of mind that's based on indecisiveness. It's a very easy state of mind to get lost in our thoughts. Can I do this? Is this the right path? What will the others say? What if this? What if that? Your mind really can't synchronize with your own actions anymore, and the result then is that you're getting disconnected. You're getting disconnected from your goals and your aspirations that you've once set out for yourself, that you wanted to follow. Remember back to the half marathon, right? When the way is filled with too much doubt, more often you'll stop instead of moving forward. Doubt can be your friend, however, but it might exist as a sign that you need to take a step back, to reconsider your options. Or it might indicate something like a decision or a task that is in violation of your values. So when that doubt crops up, go ahead and take a moment and spend time with it to see where that's really coming from. The key is then to challenge your doubts. Ask yourself, does the reasoning behind my doubt make sense? Is there any logic to it? Or is it really just disconnecting me from my goals? We can align and structure our lives in such a way to prevent the 5 hindrances from arising by simply remembering one thing. So what do? How do we get back on the right track? How do we take the necessary steps in our journey to move forward? How do we set a course to climb the mountain? Just let it rain. Let it rain. And we let it rain by developing techniques to move beyond that, to remove those hindrances from our lives. Each of these hindrances is placing a dark cloud on our mind. And on the way of our climb, it's essentially blocking our path. So here is where we let it rain. RAIN being an acronym for the 4-step method to help you remove these hindrances. So you can see it here on the screen. So the first one, recognize. What state of mind are you finding yourself in? Are you thinking clearly, or is your mind jumping from one thing to another? Take a moment to quiet the monkey mind by doing a brief meditation, and then afterwards, learn to accept and acknowledge. Acknowledge and allow the situation or the person to be how they are, or it is. Do not try to project your own feelings or perceptions onto the situation. Once we've found acceptance, then we investigate. We investigate our emotional and mental state, and we ask our questions. Why did this come up? What's going to be the consequences if I remain in this particular state? Really spend some time considering the source and why we feel this way. And then ultimately, we put non-identification or non-identity into practice. We say to ourselves, I am not the body, I am not the mind, I am not the emotion. It's just that I can see all these aspects about me. All of our lives are too unique to copy the path from someone else. To bring meaning into our lives, we need to bring value into our lives. You need to learn and master yourself, and don't let the hindrances stop you. And if any of you chooses to climb that path to clarity, I will be very happy to meet you at the peak. Because there's two mistakes we make along the way to mastery. One is not starting at all, and the other is not going all the way. And we read in the book of Matthew, therefore I tell you, do not worry about your life. Look at the birds of the air. Do they not sow or reap or store away in the barns, and yet your heavenly Father feeds them? Are you not much more valuable than they? Can any one of you by worrying add a single hour to your life? But first seek his kingdom and his righteousness, and all things will be given unto you. Therefore, do not worry about tomorrow, for tomorrow will worry about itself. This is really a beautiful reminder of our connection to our source, to the God of our choosing, God of our understanding. So in this new year, 2021, what mountains do you have to climb? Where will they take you? And what will you see at the peak? Will you stop for coffee and never head on your journey? Or will you fill your commuter cup, which I meant to bring up here with me, and keep going on your path? Fill up that to-go cup, let's go. It's up to each of us to take our own journey of spiritual discovery. But I can assure you, if you decide that it's right for you, the rewards will be greater than you ever expected. So I'm going to invite you to open the door, take the first step, and find your path. If you find your path blocked, just breathe and let it rain. Namaste.
Thank you, Bill. Wow, that was just beautiful. Thank you so much. And thank you, Reverend Allison, for a wonderful message today. I guess I'll be grabbing my computer, my mug, and get headed up the mountain for sure. So here at Unity of Orange County, we like to affirm Unity's 5 basic principles. 1, God is all good and active in everything, everywhere. 2, I am naturally good because God's divinity is in me and in everyone. 3, I create my experiences by what I choose to think and what I feel and believe. 4, through affirmative prayer and meditation, I connect with God and bring out the good in my life. And 5, I do and give my best by living the truth that I know I make a difference. And one way we can give, especially to this community, is through our donations. There are many ways to give to Unity of Orange County: through our website, our app, or mail it to us, or text it to 77977 and type in Unity of OC Give. Whichever way you choose to give, we appreciate it very much. And did you know that going through Amazon, if you go to Amazon Smile or smileamazon.com and put in Unity of Orange County, we do get a percentage of what you spend. And the prices are the same, and also Amazon Prime membership does apply. And it's a painless way to further support our spiritual community. So whether you give or not, one way you can give to Unity of OC is by supporting our YouTube channel. And if you're enjoying our videos, it would be appreciated if you would click on the like button and also subscribe. One awesome thing about YouTube is that you can go back and listen to all of our messages. So today was a really nice one, not only the music, but the message itself. And you can ask your friends if they would like to listen to this and just recommend us. It would be really great. So thank you, everybody, for being here today. So now let's have our closing with our prayer for protection. So together, the light of God surrounds us, the love of God enfolds us, the power of God protects us, and the presence of God watches over us. Wherever we are, God is, and all is well. Yay, God. Thank you, and have a wonderful week.